another market, another update, and another double stream. But the first one you guys didn't see because it was a private stream. So I was privately streaming to a bunch of friends on Discord while I was cooking. So guys, we're here for the market. Let's talk about the market. Let's talk about this current situation and see where things go from here. So I'm going to put the live chat on. Awesome, my brother. Nice to see you here, KR. So curry and crypto, bro. I'm telling you, honestly, we'll talk about this. I'll talk about this. Let's get this market thing over. And also, I'll try and drop a few bits and bobs on some tax as well, but I'll do it with a little bit of reference, so at least I'll give you some accurate thing. I know Bobby wanted to know, so I'm gonna. Well, not Bobby. I think a lot of people do, right? See, Faisal, salam everyone. Salam, my brother. We'll talk a little bit about it, right? How about this? We'll talk a little bit. Let's not make this stream too long. Let's stick to the points, and hopefully everyone gets what they need, right? So Faisal's here, he needs some XRP, so we're going to give him some XRP. KR's here, he needs a greater market outline, so we're going to give him that. And we're going to, you know, SM, if he pops in, then yeah, of course he needs some tax stuff, we'll give it to him as well. I think there's a few other people as well who need some tax kind of stuff. But as I mentioned earlier on Discord, guys, there are things I can say on a live stream, right? Because I'm not a professional, so obviously, like, I'm not a professional tax advisor or anything like this. I'm not a financial advisor for you officially. So for that reason, there are things I can't say on a live stream because I don't want to be implicated later on, right? However, during a personal meeting or something, yeah, that's a different story. We can talk generally, so a casual conversation really doesn't hurt anybody. So that's a whole different story, right? So anyway, let's talk about the market, and we'll get to some of these bits and bobs, you know, one by one, right? Hope the audio is good. Hope the lighting is good. We all know what the time is right now anyway. So total market cap, I want to start off with the total market cap, right? Total market cap currently sitting at $3.35 trillion. And I spoke about it yesterday and the day before, and I said, guys, if we drop all the way to $3 trillion, we're fine. Now, I know a lot of you guys doubt me, right? I know that, right? I know there's this, you know, little hint of doubt is like, what the hell is this guy talking about? We're moving up. We're shooting towards $3.4 trillion, almost $3.5 trillion. What is he talking about us looking at $3 trillion and hoping that's going to be a good support zone? I know you guys say that. I know you guys think that, right? Maybe not all of you, but I know some of you guys think that. And like this guy, when we're sitting at $3.5 trillion, he's talking about, oh, we should be okay when we're at 3 trillion. Why is he being negative? Whatever, right? I'm not. I'm just trying to kind of help you understand what's probable, what can come, and if it does come, what's the worst case scenario. So you're kind of prepared. You're psychologically prepared. You already know. You're the boss. You already know, right? I'm not the boss. You're the boss because you know, right? I'm just doing my thing here. You guys know. So on the worst case scenario, even if we go to $3 trillion, which shouldn't be a problem. When I'm talking about $3 trillion, I'm talking about everything bleeding out. And there's a big probability everything will bleed out because a lot of the coins that we've had recently, they've pumped like heavy, right? Some coins in the last 30 days have pumped like 400-500%. Guys, that's a 4-5x on your coins. Of course, they haven't gone anywhere near their all-time high. That's a different story, right? We're not here for that, right? But the point is a lot of the time, when you get these kind of pumps, people are going to take profits, guys, right? We should know this. Come on, we should be wise enough to understand that if you're not going to take cash out, someone else is going to cash out. So that's what's happening. But also, there are some FUD going around as well, right? So there's one FUD going around, apparently something to do with the dark web, where the government seized a whole bunch of cryptocurrency. Yeah, I'll talk about Link. They seized a whole bunch of cryptocurrency. Apparently Biden has decided, because Trump is positive, we know Trump is positive, right? And apparently Gary Gensler's left as well. So again, I cannot confirm nor deny. I do not have any evidence in front of me, but apparently, right, Gary Gensler's gone. So yeah, it is what it is. Jackson, if you don't want to hear me, you get the fuck out, bro. I don't give a shit, you understand? So don't tell me to shut the fuck up. You can fuck off. Happy days. Right. So the whole point is end of the day, apparently Gary Gensler's got kicked out, right? So again, I cannot confirm nor deny because I don't know, right? Maybe he's in the back offices or whatever. I don't know. But let's see what Gary Gensler gets up to these days. Trump is coming. So of course, if Trump comes, he will probably want to hold BTC. But whatever the case is, apparently Biden has issued it or something like this, and they want to dump their BTC. So there was this massive FUD going around the last few days, basically, and apparently they did use Coinbase, so they transferred the funds over, approximately like $2 billion worth, which is only about 10% of what they're holding, funnily. So this is a fun fact, right? So like even the government doesn't want to sell, so they do believe that this thing is going to go. That's evidence. They believe this thing can go higher, right? So they only want to dump about 10% for whatever reason. So there's a bit of FUD going on, and people started panicking and crapping their pants, basically. So if that happened, it happened, right? But ultimately, the structure looks okay, and market, I think, is absolutely fine, right? Chaos says it's 24% capital gains. You're paying tax on your crypto. Why are you paying tax on your crypto? We'll talk about it. I'm going to talk about this. So again, tax will probably help some of you guys. I do have a few notes today. Normally I don't carry notes, but especially for this tax thing, I want to, because I know a lot of you guys are concerned. But I'll try and explain it in the most simple way. Just give you a couple of rough guidance, or not even rough, but a little guidance, and hopefully that will make you understand a little bit more, and then you will know exactly how to react to that. Okay, and obviously you need to seek professional advice. That's a whole different story. But a lot of the time, if you're going to go to your accountant, well, they don't give a damn, bro. They don't give a damn if you don't even have to pay, because for them, they just want to take your money. You know what I mean, right? So think about it. Before you go to an accountant, it's advisable for you to do your own due diligence first, and then seek some professional advice, right? If you have to. But in most cases, you probably won't have to if you understand how it works. So we'll talk about that, right? We'll talk about that. So as I said, and by the way, guys, if you're here for the first time, my name is Sham. This is your X5. The truth is always out there. And of course, if we're going to get trolls and riffraffs come to the thing, if they're going to misbehave, I don't have a problem telling people to fuck off, right? Because a lot of you guys that know me from the past, you know very well, I don't give a damn about YouTube guidelines and things like that. I'm not breaking any rules here. I'm doing live. I'm not copying anyone's content. I do not plagiarize anyone, right? So ultimately, if you come here and don't give me respect or respect the channel or the show, all right? And if it doesn't interest you, get lost. But don't badmouth it, because if you do, I'll tell you to fuck off, basically, like I did that guy, whatever his name was, Jackson Face or whatever, God knows what his name was, right? You can't be respectful. Don't get lost. So anyway, so what I want to say, total market cap, right? So with the total market cap, we are looking at $3.35 trillion right now, and so far it seems okay, right? Some major coins that have pumped recently for that FUD, maybe, I don't like connecting dots, could be for the FUD, but again, before this FUD came a couple of days ago, right? And even if people reacted last night or whatever, none of that matters, because if you watch my live streams from a few days ago, from last week, I've been talking about this thing based on the chart, right? So hence why I don't want to connect the dots, but apparently, right? So I'm just going to leave it there as an apparently, right? Because that's what it is. But so far the structure is good, everything is good. Market looking okay. Yes, we might see a thing, and I've mentioned this before as well. I said, look, BTC has to reset, and it's going to need until Thursday, right? So 1 minute past Wednesday, right? When we hit the Thursday, basically, that's when we're going to actually find out what it wants to do, and that's probably how long it's going to take to reset. If it doesn't, we can give it another 3 days, right? So we can give it until Sunday, Saturday or Sunday, but it will take a bit of time to rebound, right? Now, of course, I've talked about what I would like to see, and I've mentioned this before as well. Like last week, I said, look, when we were at $99,000, we were literally on $99,000, and I said, guys, I would love to see this go to 90k. I would wish for this to go to 90k, and we head towards there. This time, when I'm looking at the charts, I did see a nice little number. Nice to see you here, Jack the Lad. So when I saw the number, I said, look, guys, I think a perfect rebound would be 92. 92 would be really cool. And I think we went to about 93k today, earlier on when we dumped. And apparently that's when the FUD happened, when the US markets woke up and saw the FUD or whatever. Apparently, right? So that's the only word I can use. There's nothing else, right? So end of the day, whatever the case, I'm looking at the chart. I'm not even looking at that FUD or whatever. I'm just looking at the chart. I'm saying 92k is a good number to rebound on, because if we rebound off that, $4 trillion is around the corner, right? Because it doesn't bleed out too much, and the market, right, actually doesn't dump out. And what happens is most of the alts won't bleed out, because remember, alts are cycling through, like each alt are cycling through. So one coin does about 50% and then it settles down, another one does 50%. It's not the same coin doing it a few days in a row, apart from a couple, right? So apart from XRP, for example, apart from what was that coin I mentioned the other day, Songbird, right? I mentioned Songbird. I mentioned Flare. Apart from a few of those, XLM, right? Apart from a few of those, and Link, we got get to Link as well, right? So apart from those few coins, right, which pumped literally every other day. I mean, Link's been pumping, and this is a fun fact, right? Link has been pumping for almost 6 months now, right? We've talked about Link in the past. Link's been pumping for almost 6 months. It's been doing like 5, 10%, 15% per day, almost per day. And it's been creeping up. Of course, sometimes the attention moves away, but most of the time the attention comes back and then it just pushes up higher and higher and higher. So that's that, right? So yeah, that's all it is. Like, you know, as I said, like for me, when I'm looking at BTC currently sitting at 95,100, it's gonna bleed out. Look, everything is saying it has to bleed out, because if it doesn't bleed out, it doesn't reset. It's actually problematic. So even if we shoot towards, you know, 99k or 100k right now, it's actually problematic. We'd rather have it settle down for a week or two. And I've mentioned this like last week, the week before as well. I said, look, guys, we needed to settle down. So whatever kind of a volatility we're seeing right now, it's not a problem as long as we don't try and shoot up. Because when we try and shoot up, we're going to invalidate everything. All the attention is going to move back there, right? So I'm saying in favor for everybody else, right? In favor of all the other cryptocurrencies out there. So I know most of the people here are not just holding BTC, because if you are just holding BTC, you know what? I salute you for just holding BTC, and for you, BTC is number one. You shouldn't be listening to other crypto analysis. You should be just looking at your BTC. That's it. But we know very well that at least, right, at least you hold two cryptocurrencies, like one other, right, if not many more. So if you do, then you should be thinking about the other altcoins as well, not just BTC, right? You know, unless you're holding thousands of BTC, then it's a different story. But I doubt someone who's holding 1,000 BTC is going to come on this channel, right, to listen to me, right? I doubt that. So let's just be honest with it, right? So you will find people holding hundreds, if not thousands, of other coins, right? And I'm not saying thousands of different coins, but I'm just saying like in units, right? So of course that's relevant for us. We need to understand that the altcoins have to move. So it's very important for us, for BTC to settle down, doesn't do anything sudden, right? And the attention doesn't go to it. So we can actually continue with this momentum, right? So that's the whole goal here, right? Ethereum, as I said to you guys as well, Ethereum is gonna, like, when Ethereum moves, right, it hasn't, it's freaking disappointed. It broke its resistance. So we had a resistance around the $3,586. We had a resistance there. It broke past the resistance. Of course, it even tested the 3,700. But as soon as BTC decided to go south a little bit, Ethereum just shit its pants, right? Everybody just exited Ethereum all of a sudden. And it's back to 3,500. So we're below the resistance now. Our resistance that we broke through should have become our support. Well, we lost the support. That doesn't look good, right? So, but it's holding strong, to be honest. It's holding strong, but it just doesn't look good, right? So again, it's not performing. But I think if Ethereum starts to make a move towards the 3,900, then the previous all-time high is just around the corner. It will take a few days to get to that, and then possibly even shoot towards the 5k, 6k, 7k, right? It's that kind of numbers. This is what I'm looking at, and then obviously as we get there, we might get higher. So let's see, right? So you know what's quite funny? I'm looking at the chat, right? It's quite funny. All of our Discord boys are moderators on the chat. It's brilliant. So it's brilliant. Anyway, so that's what I'm seeing for Ethereum, right? And I'm gonna get XRP in a bit, right? So of course there are a few coins I'm looking at for other people as well. Crow has been one of those coins, and he's not here right now, but if he was, Crow's been holding very strong today. While it dumped, Crow did go to around 20 cents, I believe, and then when the market bled out, it went to around 18 cents and it held. It's still up 2% for today, right? So that's a good thing, right? It actually is still up 2% for today, and that makes me happy. That says, you know what, it's holding strong, and that also gives me a very small indication that alts are not done yet. The money's still flowing into alts. So maybe, and it also gives me a little bit of a theory, and it says maybe people took their cash out, as we spoke in the last couple of streams as well, that sometimes what people do is they will take their BTC and they will dump their BTC into another asset because they can buy thousands and thousands of more coins in that. And then what they'll do, they pump that coin because it's making more money, and they'll come back and make more BTC that way. So a lot of people are not focused on your USD or Tether value or whatever, the stablecoin value. They're not, right? A lot of people are interested in making more BTC, and that's one way of doing it, right? Which is why I'm going to talk about taxation here as well. So that looks good so far, right? Say yesterday we were at 61. Today, right now, after bleeding, we're at 64. I think we went to like 66 or 67. That's not a bad deal. So a lot of them are holding. Yes, are they going to lose a few percent? Yes, if BTC goes towards 92K, it will definitely, trigger for them a lot of these coins to bleed out a little bit as well. But as long as they hold their last support zones, right? So the last resistance that they broke past, right? We should be fine. So say, for example, it's I think it's 48. So we're well above that. So we're okay with that, right? For example, I've mentioned Solana. Solana's at 222 right now. As long as we're above 208, we're fine. If we lose 208, though, then things become to get a bit worrying, right? That's what we don't want, right? So then we can expect, oh my God, we might lose another 10% or so. So that's the kind of thing. But I've talked about it. Like Solana, we've talked about the stop loss. Like 208 would be my level that, if worst case scenario, of course, we need to break past the 260 again and stay there. And that's what I said. Candles, we can have candles shooting all the way to the moon, but it all depends where that candle sticks around, right? Because when we come back down and settle down and close that candle, that's the most important thing. So ignore how high we go. It's the closure of the candle that is more important than anything else, right? So that's what we're looking at. Now, the dominance, right? So dominance on different charts, right? Like Bitcoin's dominance on different charts are giving a good indication for the altcoin as well, right? So we know we're in the altcoin season right now, and maybe there's a bit of manipulation or whatever. So I'm talking about like mixing up theories and whatnot. But altcoin, the BTC dominance currently, depending on what chart you're looking at, so in some platforms it's around 55%. On TradingView it's about 56%. Again, over the last week it's dropped a few percent. So we were at 58 at one stage, almost 59. We've been coming down. Another thing I've noticed as well, fear and greed. So at some stage, fear and greed, the greed, we were at 90 something, right? So this was very high. This was when BTC was pumping like hell. But when BTC decided to settle down, we actually started to drop. And last night, right? Last night when was it last night or the night before? Sorry, the night before Sunday. Sunday, when we closed the week, we actually printed a 73 compared to an 83. That's a brilliant result, right? So it's gone into, the greed is still there. Obviously, we're above 70s, greed is there. But the greed is calmed down a bit. Again, we got to wonder, what are they actually tracking? You know what I mean? What are they tracking? So anyway, whatever they're tracking, regardless of that, when we see it calm down, that's a good thing. That means people are a little bit more skeptical regarding the market, and they're not that confident, right? And they're not that greedy, and which is good. That means they're more responsible, and that means we can all make more money and we can prolong this market. Because remember, I'm a massive fan of prolonging this market. I would love to see a bull run, right, or bull market, or this bull market go all the way to 26. Why not? Right? I would love to see that, but we cannot achieve that if we start seeing a parabola on any asset. Because what happens as soon as that happens is going to be like a game of chicken, right? So somebody has to basically give up, and give up, I mean someone has to sell, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Someone will sell. So when I'm talking about that, when some large company, corporation or whatever comes along and dumps all their coins because they want to cash out, because they're feeling a bit iffy, they don't understand, or they're like, okay, I've had enough, right? That could potentially start triggering the downside. So that's why, I don't really want to see too much, and I want to see things go slowly. So let's see what happens. I saw Faisal say something. I'm going to read that, my brother. Give me a second, right? I'll read that. So that's what we're seeing for dominance. 55 to 56, depending where you're looking at. Everything is so far so good, right? Now I'm going to get to XRP, all right? XRP, remember yesterday I did say to you, even if XRP goes to around $2.50, it's okay, right? So finally, coincidentally, guess where we are? $2.50, right? Actually, we went even below. I think we went to like $2.40 or something, if I'm correct. I'm going to quickly just double check that for you, okay? Because I don't want to give you a random number, right? I think we went to $2.40 or below. Let me just check. We actually went to $2.29, so or 30ish, right? So that's not bad. We found a bit of support there. Again, we're fine. Remember what I said, right? I've mentioned this on the live streams even before we came there, even when we were sitting at $2.70 or whatever on a live stream. Obviously, prior to that, we went to $2.87. Today, we went to $2.90, right? I did say to you that if we fall below 198, then we should start panicking. Before that, we're fine, right? Because that's our previous resistance, which is now support. Of course, if it does similar things to Ethereum, where it's lost that support, then we can become concerned. And that's one of the reasons why that is a very significant level and a very specific level that I said, 198, right? $1.98, we don't want to lose. No, we don't want to become another freaking Ethereum, right? It's just been disappointing this entire season, honestly. Okay, fine. Overall, yeah, we did well, right? Overall, we did well, right? I think we went as low as like $700-800, right? And then I think we went, a lot of us came back in about $900. So yeah, we're fine. We've done like 3x or 3.5x, but until after that, it hasn't done anything, and that's the disappointing thing. So, you know, I'm hoping that it recovers, but yeah, currently sitting at $2.51, not a concern. As I said, as long as we don't go to $1.98, it's fine. It can actually come back, right? Just basically people crapping their pants. That's what's happening right now. So that's that. Link, I know we went to like $26. I'm gonna quickly just find Link again because it's not on. I didn't save the chart, my brother. That's why I'm going to find the chart for Link. So Link went to $26.90, right? That's how high we went to. I did briefly see 26. Currently sitting back at 23. We did go as low as 19 cents, and this is not the chart. This is just my knowledge. I know this, right? So we went as low as $19. So we went as low as $19. But overall, right, when I'm looking at the Link structure, there is a bit of a bearish divergence forming on the 12 hours. So that means that, again, with the market at this present moment, because of all the pumps that we've had, and as I mentioned earlier as well, we've been secretly pumping, right, continuously. So it's been on an uptrend for about 6 months, right? It hasn't really done anything, any major pullbacks. So that all tells me that, you know, there's enough momentum left and we can actually go to the higher level, all right? And I can't remember what the higher level was. I think it was like somewhere around $50 or something. We could push towards there, provided the market, and I mentioned that specifically, I said provided the market doesn't bleed out, because it all depends on the market. So yes, we've just started. So I remember I said the beginning of the end, right? And I was very specific about the beginning of the end. This is the beginning of the end of the bull market, right? And what that means is we're going to have a massive run, a massive rally in altcoins, right? We're going to have a massive rally because we've already had the BTC rally, fine. That's led the market. Now we're going to have a rally in the altcoins. Someone has to lead. Who? We don't know, right? And right now it looks like XRP is leading. So someone has to lead, right? When that person or when that coin leads, at some stage, someone's going to take cash. Someone's going to take profit, right? When that profit happens, of course, that means we're going to end it very quickly. So that's why you got to be a little bit more extra cautious at this time. I know a lot of you guys don't agree with me. Like, bro, why are you always telling us to put a stop loss? Why are you always telling us to put a trailing stop or whatever? Why are you always telling us that? Because I want you to protect your funds. I want you to keep your profits. You know what I mean? I want you to keep your profits. That's the reason. So, yeah, I mean, with what do you call this? The Link, right? With Link, even if we go to, and let me just give you a number, right? If we do go to around $20, we're safe. We're safe. So yeah, you'll see a little bit of volatility. It's just natural for the market. By the way, guys, my name is Sham. This is 0x5. If you're here for the first time, consider subscribing. If not, at least smash that like button, right? Guys, all of you here, smash the like button. What's wrong with you? Right, so let's see what Faisal says. Sham, do you think new SEC chair being appointed will help push any narrative or the market rumored to be announced today, tomorrow? Right, this is a problem. So Gary Gensler was supposed to be kicked out by Donald Trump. Donald Trump's not in fully power yet. He's not in power at all. He has no executive power at all because he's not going into office until January. So whatever's just happened now, Biden's done it. So are they kind of bypassing whatever Donald Trump wanted to do? You know, are they playing him down or whatever? You know what I mean? I mean, what's going on here? It doesn't make any sense because Trump was supposed to do that. That would have made sense to me. Then I would have been on a whole different boat, right? You know, there's a few boats there, right? This boat doesn't look right to me. Something's not right. There's a freaking conspiracy going on. I don't like that. Biden shouldn't be making these decisions just before Trump comes in. changing the SEC chair, selling BTC. I mean, I thought he doesn't like crypto, right? What's going on here? Do you know what I mean? So all of these things don't make any sense to me. So that makes me extra freaking cautious, right? I don't know what's going on. Whatever they're going to do, something crazy. And then on top of that, remember, this month, I believe this month, right? I'm not sure when, they have another FOMC meeting or whatever, right? And they're going to talk about some tax breaks or tax cuts or whatever. You know, all of the BS, the rates, right? The weirdest tax rate thing I've ever seen. Why do you have to have one every freaking month? Why can't you just do it in one go? You're either going to take it down or you're going to put it up. Make your freaking mind up. Why do you have to call a meeting every other time? Isn't that a freaking waste of time? But that's what it is. But everyone gets excited because it's USA, you know. So, honestly, something's not right here. I don't. With SEC and Gary Gensler, as I said, I cannot confirm nor deny. I don't know where Gary Gensler is, right? I don't know. I'm not friends with him, but it just doesn't make sense because Trump was supposed to do that, as far as we know. And remember, I made a video and I talked to, I mean, we were on a live and I spoke about it. I said, Trump said he's going to do that. Let's see, right? But before Trump has even made any decisions, Biden's doing all of this. Biden's doing all of this before Trump comes in. Something's not right here, guys. Something's not right. So please be cautious. That's all I'm saying. Please be cautious. Put your freaking stop losses on. If you don't have a plan, make your bloody plans right now. Because if you don't, you're going to end up losing money, bro. I'm telling you. I don't know. I don't know about the news or anything. Maybe someone's going to come out with it, right? But it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I'm telling you, it doesn't make any sense, right? YouTube notifications. I misread the title. I thought it said cycle daily and then nursed a semi. What? I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're talking about. Please write it more clearly, or at least reiterate what you're talking about, or try and explain what you're talking about. I have no idea. Whatever's on the thumbnail is on the thumbnail, or whatever's on the title is on the title. On the title it should say crypto daily analysis. This is a daily analysis because I've been doing it for the last God knows how many days in a row, if not twice a day, right? So yeah, I think our title is very relevant, right? Daily analysis. That's what we're doing right now. Daily analysis. If you haven't heard the last 5 minutes when I was talking about the market, that was an analysis, unless you have a different definition of analysis. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going down there. So that's that. KR says alpha, won't find this anywhere. I hope so, my brother. I try to be honest and true to you guys. End of the day, that's my whole mission. So, you know, if people don't realize it, then what can I do? I can't help everybody. Listen, you can only help yourself. I can't help you. You can help yourself, right? You can help me with the likes and shares and XYZ and growing the channel. Yet you can help me and you can help yourself. But from here, I cannot help you, right? Of course, there are other things, and I don't want to sound like I'm plugging something, but I do private consulting, so I consult people privately. That, yeah, I could give some help there, but obviously you're paying me for it. That's a service, right? So that's a different story. So I'm not plugging anything here. So there's no links or anything, by the way, guys. Please don't take this the wrong way. Faisal says, you're right. I think it's more Trump will announce saying when he comes into power, January, this is who the guy will be replacing Gensler. I don't know about that. I don't think that's the case. Gensler's already left, so you can't really have SEC currently operating without any guidance, right? Unless someone's taken over, unless like he's had a VC or something, like, you know, someone on the side, some assistant or whatever. But someone's there right now running SEC, because you don't have you can't have an organization without a head, right? At least someone's sitting there. So clearly someone's replaced him. We just don't know who. You know what I mean? Maybe they're going through vetting process or whatever, but you can't really have an organization without someone. Someone has to be appointed, and I believe they're already appointed. Whether the announcement comes later or not, that's a whole different story. But Gary Gensler being kicked out right now doesn't make any sense to me. That's why I said it's a rumor, or I cannot confirm or deny. That's apparently that's what's happening. But if that's the case, then the crypto industry should be bullish, right? Gary Gensler's finally left. The enemy of crypto has left, right? You know, and remember, Gary Gensler is a very knowledgeable man. So it was confusing when he was there as a chair. When he started going against crypto, it didn't make sense. The crypto community were baffled. We were completely baffled. Hold on, this guy's very knowledgeable. This guy used to give lectures, right? We got videos of him on YouTube giving lectures on how positive this whole thing is. And all of a sudden, he became all completely against it. right? He's knowledgeable. He understands crypto better than most of the people in his field, right? He understands it better. And then he was the enemy of crypto. So obviously he was playing whatever strings people were pulling, right? That's what he was playing. And right now, I see Bubble. Nice, my brother. Nice to see you. So right now, him not being there, obviously, where is he going to go? I need to find out what his new job is, because is he getting a promotion or a demotion? That also matters as well. But Trump was supposed to do that. So how come Trump's not here right now? And before Trump does anything, Biden's government or Biden's crew are doing whatever they need to do. What's going on here? Are they playing Trump down? It's like, right, you're going to come in, but you're going to have no power because we already took it out of your hands. Is that what's going on? Is this a political move that they're doing? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? So let's see where that goes, right? We'll find out very soon anyway. We'll find out very soon. And then, of course, whoever's coming in, is it going to be really in our favor or not? We're going to find out soon, right? But yeah, so we're just going to find out. I mean, look, the only person in politics, there's only one person I can proudly say, right, that has actually done something very positive for the crypto. Actually, two people, right? There's one person in one of the states in America who created like a crypto state. I think it's Miami or something. The mayor of Miami or something like this. He did something really cool. So that's quite nice. Fixture says from USA, are you from United Kingdoms? They are now for policy immigrants. They know. What? Are you from United? I am from United Kingdom, yes, and I am streaming directly from United Kingdom, central London right now. They are no for policy immigrants, Negro plants. I don't know what that means, bro. I honestly don't know what that means. Why are we talking about immigrants on a crypto channel? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. If I look like an immigrant to you, then unfortunately you're a freaking racist, right? I'm sorry to say that, right? But honestly, I'm third generation here. So does that make me an immigrant here? I don't know, honestly, right? So honestly, I don't know. So I'm really sorry, mate. Right? Oh my God, honestly, doesn't make any sense. So, but this is a crypto channel. Please stick to the topic, right? Let's not go elsewhere. All right. So I don't know why people do this on a live. Come on, you're making a fool of yourself, right? Because these live chats can be replayed, and people will come and see how much of an idiot you are, right? Talking like that, right? Or immigrants and this. What are you talking about, right? What is an immigrant? What is an immigrant? Right? People don't realize colonial. I'm going to go out of subject right now. Colonialism, right? Imperialism, right? That's what created immigrants. But before that, there were no immigrants. There were no freaking countries. Do you realize that? Right? It was the colonialism, right, and the imperialism that drew lines and made countries. Back in the days, they were not countries. They were states, right? Which you still in USA still have states. Your United States of America, adding states to it, right? Right? You're not even a freaking country. But your lines and your border lines, there's nothing stopping, right, from them becoming countries in the future. Do you see what I mean? But that's not the intention, is it? Right? Everything was a state. There were different states around the world. That's what it was. It was different people ruling over different tribes, and that's what it was. The planet was for everybody. People could move up and down, walk up, do whatever, go to any country without anything. Borders and this and that, even passport. That was created back in 1920s. Before that, there was no border control, right? So think about that, please. Go back to your history and look at that, right? So I need the N-word. What N-word? Why do I need the N-word for? Why? Why do I need the N-word? Do I look like an N-word to you? What's wrong with you? Honestly, it doesn't make any sense. All right, Bubble, you don't have to delete him. You just ban him. Honestly, we don't need people like that ruining the thing. But all I'm saying to those of you guys who are watching here, listen, I don't want to be disrespectful, right? But please go and look at the history, all right? Right? You need to... I don't know what you're talking about, brother. I don't know what you're talking about. Honestly, you're confusing me, right? Please write properly or something and be more clear. It's fine. You can stay here. I don't have a problem. Listen, I don't have a problem with anybody, right? This is a multicultural channel. I'm talking to people from all over the world, right? Bubble, leave him there. That's fine. Leave him there for now. Not to worry, right? But what I'm saying is we're a multicultural channel here, all right? We have people from all over the world, who come here and watch. Maybe right now you're not seeing it, but believe me, people from all over the world come. And I don't be disrespectful, because for me, race, color, religion, gender, none of that matters. Right? Honestly, I'm a different type of an animal here. It doesn't matter, right? Because I believe in only one thing: humanity. That's it. There's only one race for me, one culture for me, one, just humanity. It's just a, luck, right? That some people have a different skin, right? But that skin doesn't mean it's bad or good, or or less or more. Nothing, right? When you look at the planet, majority of the planet are brown skin or black skin. So end of the day, we're the majority anyway. You're the minority, right? If you're going to go on skin color. But what's the point? Ultimately, we're all the same, right? In my own family, my own bloodline, right? We have people black than black, and we have people white than white. And I can assure you, they're whiter than you, right? If you're white. But point is, end of the day, in my own bloodline, and I'm here in the middle, brown, right? So what? It doesn't have anything to do with it. So ultimately, we're all humans. That's the most important thing, right? And let's keep it like this. Honestly, there's so much racial division and so much cultural division. Like the agenda on the news, East versus West, just complete BS. Do we really need that? No, let's enjoy crypto. You know what I mean, right? At least that doesn't see boundaries. Crypto doesn't choose who you are, right? Crypto doesn't care who you are. Crypto doesn't look for your color. Crypto doesn't look for your balances, how rich you are, how poor you are. It doesn't look at anything, right? It's unbiased. So let's keep it that way. Do you know what I mean? Right? I hope I'm not offending anybody, guys. I'm really sorry. I hope I'm not offending anybody, but we don't really need this kind of stuff, right? Honestly, one thing that annoys me, or a couple of things that annoys me the most, right? Politics really annoys me. I don't like politics. I don't like the BS about East and West. I don't like that. And especially race or religion. I don't like that. Honestly, there's only one race. You're freaking human. That's it, right? There's only one race. You're a human or you're nothing, right? If you believe you're not a human, you're nothing. Full stop. Right? That's it for me. End of the day, right? Me speaking to you in English, that's my language. So that's the only language I'm going to speak, right? Or that's the most universal language right now, right? If that language didn't exist, and if Greeks took over the world, right, we would have been speaking Greek right now, right? If it was Romans taking over, we would have probably been speaking Italian or whatever, or Latin, right? But the point is at some stage, English became the standard language, hence why I'm speaking to you in English right now. Do you know what I mean? D Turner says, brother, I wish your way of thinking was everyone's. Keep spreading the truth and love. God bless you. Thank you, my brother. I do appreciate that. But that's the truth. That's honest truth. I don't see anything here, I'm very transparent about that. I only see people. I don't see anything else. And as I said, in my own bloodline, right, my younger brother and sister are two different colors from me. Think about my own younger brother and sister have two different colors from me. How is that possible? I'll tell you how that's possible. Genetics, right? Because my mum's side has slightly darker skin. My dad's side has fairer skin, right? And that's what it is. So if they have a different color, someone's going to take that gene. That's all it is. But it doesn't mean that, they're different people or whatever. No, I don't see that, So it's a sad reality, honestly. It's an absolute sad reality. But I do appreciate you saying this, because honestly, your comment uplifts it, because that's what we need, guys. I don't like going off topic, but I had to, honestly. I was surprised, shocking. It's like, well, hold on, where did we come into this? Because we're here talking about crypto. We were doing a crypto analysis, and all of a sudden things change. What's going on here? Do you know what I mean? So honestly, that was oh my god. I hope, guys, honestly, I hope you guys don't take this the wrong way. It's a live stream as well, and that's the worst thing, right? That's something we didn't want to see. Anyway, I'm gonna jump on to talk about some crypto stuff right now, right? So I'm gonna try and talk about some crypto stuff, a few bits and bobs. Give me a second. So I want to talk about taxes, right? So crypto taxes, and let's go into that subject. So I have a few notes that I'm going to talk about, right? So with crypto in UK, I can't tell you much about USA because there could be variations, and other countries as well, there could be variations. For example, Singapore, there's a few variations. For example, we got a brother who's in Dubai, there's a few variations there. So different countries have different tax rules for individuals and for businesses as well. So when I'm talking about this, I'm generally talking about individuals, right? This is not what happens in businesses, right? I think Faisal has a note or something. He's making notes. So for individuals, it's quite different. So for individuals, you have to understand the number one thing. So before we get into the taxation, what is a taxable event? Very important. So if you understand a taxable event in the crypto, then you're already one step ahead, right? So a taxable event for you would be if you take the crypto and swap it into cash, fiat. And I've always said this. I said, guys, the only time you get taxed is when you go back into fiat. So if you change it into fiat or current new rules, which came out, I think, last month, any fiat now. So now crypto, like UK changed its law from just GBP. Now they're saying any fiat. So even if you go to foreign currency, it's taxable. So that's one you have to understand, that if it changes into any fiat, it's taxable. They've also added that if you convert that currency into another cryptocurrency, it's also taxable. So now, for example, you take BTC and you want to buy some Ethereum, well, that's taxable. Right? So it's getting crazy, right? It's getting really crazy. It's taxable. So one by one, they're kind of making certain things like, so anything you do, if you convert it, if you stake it, if you earn from it, and earning, there's two ways of earning, but in general, it's all taxable event. So that's something you have to understand. That's what a taxable event is. And then, but, right, so now let's go into the tax part, right? And I'll give you the good part first, right? Actually, no, I'm going to give you the good part at the end. How about that? I'm going to give you the good part at the end, right? So let's stick to the taxable event, right? So also, if you use crypto to make purchases, right, that's a taxable event. So for example, you got $1,000 worth of BTC sitting in some crypto debit card, and you use your debit card to purchase something, which is absolutely normal, right? You would use your fiat, you're just going to use your crypto. Well, that's a taxable event now as well, right? So yeah, you can't even purchase anything. It becomes taxable. So we didn't have that before. Now we have it. So since 2016 to now, we didn't really have that. That's now added on as well. So any goods or services. So if you pay with crypto, pay somebody like myself, if you pay me for a service that I provide, then you are taxable and I'm taxable as well. Do you know what I mean? Even though I'm not spending it, I'm just going to hold or whatever. It's taxable, right? So that's what you have to understand. So if you receive payments or if you make payments, that's taxable. So we have to understand what a taxable event is first. Now, from a taxable event, so that's the taxable event. How much you pay depends, right? So in the UK, we have something called a tax allowance, right? We also have something called a spouse allowance. So if your spouse is not working, they also have a tax-free allowance. And that allowance is currently, I think, income allowance is about £12,500 or something like this. So the first £12,500 for you don't have to pay taxes on, right? So remember that. So that's going to be a way of you to save a bit of fund. And then your spouse also gets a 12,500 allowance as well, and there's another 3,000 allowance. So that would help you reduce how much you pay, right? Furthermore, if you're taking a note, take a note of this: fees, right? So any fees you pay, that's deductible. You don't pay any taxes on that. So whatever tax you were going to pay, say you're going to pay $100 tax and you paid $10 in fees for all of those profit that you were made, well, that's now deductible. So that's not part of the tax, and you can reduce it from your tax. So that's important as well. So the tax-free allowance is very, very important, right? But there's one other thing as well. Say, for example, and by the way, guys, this is not financial advice. None of this is financial advice. Please, please, please see a professional. But I'm just giving you a rough guidance here. Another thing is, like, for example, people kind of forget, and I've had a few people who had this situation very recently. Actually, I've consulted a few people, and they basically, let me explain to you guys. When I say consulting, a lot of people come to me for like guidance or consultation before they go to their tax advisor, right? So they could understand certain things. And a lot of these things would be something I would normally talk into in a private conversation, obviously, with the clients. And I'll be like, right, guys, these are your, you lay everything out, and these are your problems, and this is your solution. So that's how I would say. ABC says, hurry up. Yes, hurry up. Right. So the other thing you have to remember is, if you invest, so this is what I was going to say, if you invest $10,000, right? So whatever money you originally invest, you don't pay tax on that. And that's what I've seen a few people make a mistake of that, because what they do is they add the money they've invested and the profit money. So I made 10K, I've put 10K and I made 10K, and they pay tax on the 20K. Don't do that. You only pay tax on the profit amount. Now the profit amount can also include losses as well. So let me explain. So you have 10 different cryptocurrencies, 5 of them didn't do well, you've lost money on those 5. Well, that's deductible against any profit you made. So on another coin you made 100% gain, you don't have to pay 100% gains tax on that, because the loss has to be deducted. That's very important, right? So any expenses, any fees, and any losses will be deducted. And if you had a significant loss in some cryptocurrency, well, you can carry that over for up to 3 years, right? So think about that as well. So if you've got a large, significant amount, you can carry over for 3 years. That's very important as well, right? Another way of you kind of trying to save some funds. So if you have a civil partner, or if you have a legal marriage, right? So if you have a wife, or a husband, right? So it depends if you're a man or a woman. So a civil partnership or actual marriage, if you have one of those, well, let me get to that. This part actually is, so ABC, this part you're gonna like this part. I'm about to tell you. In the United Kingdom, if you transfer funds to your civil partner or spouse, it's tax-free. So what you just said there about capital gains, inheritance tax, property matters. No, okay, property, I'm not going to go, we're not talking about property here, please. Let's not talk about property. Crypto, because yes, I know they say it's the same, there's capital gains tax, but it's quite different to the property. Property is slightly more, slightly different. I'm not going to go into real estate here. But crypto, if you transfer your crypto to your wife, that is not a taxable event. That's the key here. Please understand this. So if you have a civil partner or a wife or something, that is not, I say it again, it is not a taxable event. There is zero tax on that. Zero. Remember that. So if you're not married yet, get married, right? Real estate is the real stuff, but we're not here for real stuff. This is not a real estate channel. So why are we talking about real estate, right? If you want to know about where I would lock my profits, what I would be thinking about doing with my gains that I have, yeah, I'll be definitely going into real estate. Of course, it's the real stuff, right? Real estate, land, these are all of the stuff, real businesses. These are all the places we want to deploy our funds when we made a significant amount of profits. But we're making the profit in crypto. So for us, only thing is relevant right now is crypto, right? So we're not here to talk about real estate. This is not a real estate channel. Do you know what I mean? Laysaf says, or Faisal said, bro, change your name back to Faisal. It's easier for me to say Faisal. What about gifting to parents? Unfortunately, it is taxable. Parents, siblings is taxable. Only person you don't get taxed on if you transfer it to your wife. So if you send funds to your wife or your civil partner is another word for anybody. So I'm not going to go into that. They, them, if, that, whatever. But the point is if you give it to your civil partner or your spouse, it is not taxable, right? So legally, you can officially put it on your documents and say, I've gifted $100,000 or $1 million to my wife. Well, it's not taxable, right? It becomes taxable for them when they have a taxable event. So you see, if they receive it, it's fine. Between spouse, it's fine. They don't pay tax on it. There might be something you want to consider. I'm not going to say anything else. Right? Jack the Lad says, but would they incur income tax then they need? I've just answered it. So they wouldn't. There is no income tax. Income tax is normally what you earn. So if you do freelance work, so that is taxable. So when you're paying taxes, and remember that $12,500 or sorry, £12,500 allowance, that £12,500 allowance is your total income. So if you do freelance, if you do 3 jobs, if you do 5 jobs, 10 jobs, whatever, it calculates your entire income, and that 12,500 is the first allowance. This is the tax-free allowance. Anyway, that's basic for everybody in the UK. So think about that. So if you're doing 3 jobs, for example, or you trade and this and that, that's all taxable. All right, and your tax-free allowance is everything combined together, then minus 12,500. So please do understand this. However, if you've made some significant gains or whatever, and at some stage you decided to send it over to your missus, she doesn't pay tax on it, neither do you, right? However, if she then decides to spend it, then it's a taxable event. So remember what I said: spend, transfer. So if you see now transfers it over, spends it, does whatever, withdraws, goes to fiat, it's a taxable event, right? So that's when it becomes, and that's not considered income, because if you're gifting to your wife, it's not income. Remember, she has to earn. So if you're paying her for a service, well, you shouldn't be paying your missus for a service. But if you did, then it's a taxable event. Income tax is due. So I hope that kind of helps. That's one of the things, right? There's more. There are platforms out there who are actually providing ISA. UK, we have ISA, right? You know what an ISA is, like savings account, government funded or backed savings account. There are actual platforms out there right now, companies, legitimate FCA regulated companies out there who are providing ISA accounts for crypto, right? If you earn any profits, so if you have, like, say you bought one BTC, right, for the sake of this, right, you bought one BTC and you decided to invest it into an ISA account, which is crypto backed, right, a crypto backed ISA account, you don't pay tax on it, because in the UK ISA is 100% tax free. So if your crypto, you put one BTC and it's now worth $1 million, you get a whole $1 million without paying a single penny tax, as long as you're in that ISA. That's something to consider as well, right? So listen, I'm giving you some stuff here, so guys, please respect it, right? Respect it, right? Normally I would not give this out publicly, right? Listen, this is my bread and butter, right? This is the stuff that I deal with. Of course I'm not giving all of it, but there's more. So that's that. Now, another thing that is, so for example, if you want to reduce your tax, right, there's another way to reduce your tax as well. In fact, in UK, if you donate to a registered charity, so if you donate to a registered charity, whatever quantity, there's zero tax on that. So if you've made $1 million and you decided to gift, like, not gift, basically, you decided to donate $1 million to a registered charity, well, you don't pay any tax on it. In fact, it's an expense. So if you've paid more than you've earned, well, that's now tax deductible. So, food for your mind, basically. You have some thoughts there, right? So I talked about crypto losses. That's a different story. Oh my. ABC says, I'm sending it all to my wife, then using it on her behalf. Well, listen, I'm not going to go into how you would use it. That's a whole different story. But if you stick to the end of what I'm about to say, a few more minutes, right, maybe there might be something there that kind of helps you in the long run. But then there's a strategy behind that, and I'm just going to say the strategy, but that's it. I'm not going to go beyond that, because as I said, I'm not a tax advisor, I'm not a financial advisor. That is not my job, right? As a consultant, private consultant, that's a different story. That's in a closed room. We're going to have a private NDA, all of that done, a conversation. That's a whole different story. All right. In there, I can share certain opinions, right? But I'm not advising you. And part of my advice is, guys, here's what I'm going to lay out for you, your solution. Now you can take that and decide what path you want to take, right? It's entirely up to you. And of course, there's nothing dodgy. Everything there is all legal, right? And yes, there are gray areas and loopholes, but also, end of the day, there's a lot of legal loopholes. Like, for example, the ISA is a legal loophole, right? ISA is a legal loophole. So that's that, right? So yeah. So Jack the Lad says, still fucked. Yep. Where are the loopholes? So ABC says, dropping the gems. Faisal says, the people don't realize Sam, this is golden stuff you're sharing. I hope so, my brother. I hope people find benefit, at least, right? If not, freaking at least entertainment, right? Listen, based on that, there's 13 people right now watching, right? I know this is on a whole different platform, right? But if there's 13 people watching, why isn't there 13 likes? Guys, come on. That's the least you could do, right? I'm not asking you to subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, don't subscribe, right? Of course, we're going to get to 10,000 subscribers, and we are going to get there. Believe me, if you don't subscribe, we're still getting there. But at least hit that like, right? Knowledge is power. Right, okay, let's go to another one, right? So let's talk about this. So this is where it gets really, really funny. Right? Adil is here. He's saying, brother, December is a month of giving. Brother, every month is month of giving for me. Every month is God sent to us, right? Imagine this, right? You wake up tomorrow and you realize that you're not in your body. So where's the gift? I know it's kind of deep, right? Every month, every day, every minute is a gift to us, brother. Every day we're here, we need to make a change. We need to help somebody in some form or manner, of course, within our limitations, right? So for me, every day, every minute, every second is a gift. Right now, right, I'm sitting here, it's a gift, right? So we've got to do our best end of the day. That's the most important thing, stay humble. So here's the best part, right? Okay, look, I'm going to drop the drama. I'm just going to give you the best part. There's one way you don't pay any taxes at all. But that's a long haul, right? And technically it's a loophole, but it's a legal loophole, right? It's black and white, written on the His Majesty's Revenue and Services, whatever, HMRC, whatever. Basically, if you bought crypto for $100 or $1,000 and it became $1 million, and you didn't do any of the things that I told you earlier on about the taxable event, so it was all there the whole time. A taxable event is all of those things. You did not convert your crypto. You didn't touch your crypto. You just left it there for 5 years, and this thing became $1 million, and you still intend not to take it out. You don't pay a single penny tax legally. You can declare it legally and say, right, I have $1 million in crypto. I bought it 5 years ago. It's growing. It's going to grow to $10 million. But there's not been a single tax event. You don't have to pay a single penny tax legally in the UK, right? How much more beautiful can they make? They made it easy for people. Think about it, right? You know, of course, different rules apply to the businesses, but guys, you can make £1 million, leave it there in crypto. So if you're a long-term hodler of some cryptocurrencies, like some people we know, you don't pay a penny because you never moved your funds. You never created a taxable event. Now, what's the loophole, right? What the hell is the loophole? The loophole is a lot of people that I know, out of them, I would say maybe about 20-25% are planning to leave the country. Right? So they've made a shit ton of money, right? I know we joke about some of the guys in the group and this and that, but they've made a shit ton of money. And they're like, dude, listen, we've got a house, we've got everything, and life is not easy. UK is not easy, you know. It's freaking expensive. It's getting more and more expensive. All the charges and all of the stuff, it's just getting, you know, people are driven away. People now from London are moving away, right? That's how bad it is, right? So people are like, well, it doesn't get any better when you go, things just keep on moving towards you. So we might as well have a better life. A better life means we get away from here, go abroad. So a lot of people are now treating UK as a holiday country where they come for like 2-3 months, right? To come and see the family and friends, but they're completely abroad. Recently, a friend of mine just moved his entire family. So he used to live in Watford. He's moved his entire family to Australia. He's gone, completely gone. This guy's born and bred here, born and raised here. He left, took his entire family. He said, bro, this is crap, right? This is crap. This country's gone, right? Another brother, he's left, so he's not far from where I live. He left, he's like, bro, you know, the gangs and this and that, and you got all the knife crimes and all of that. He left, right? Now, a lot of these guys, when they leave with their crypto. They don't take it in a suitcase. Remember that, because it's a crypto, right? They don't take it in their suitcase, but it's still there. But what happens is they become a resident of another country, and that country has a slight different rule. The rule's not 40% or 24% or 20%, you know? It could be 5%, 10%, 8%, or in some cases, for an individual, 0%. So you see what they're doing. So that's their loophole. They're like, hold on, we've made £1 million. Well, why are we going to sit here for? Because things are not looking well. I myself am considering to leave this country at some stage, right? Why? Because end of the day, life is not easy. It's getting harder and harder, and they're making it so hard. It's unbelievable, right? You know, the country's just messed up. And it's not the country. When I mean country, I don't mean the country. I mean government. Our government's, they're messed up. They're greedy, right? They don't want people to grow. They will put so many different things in front of you to control and to take your money one way or another. It's like modern day slavery. So slavery hasn't been abolished. It's just that now the citizens are the slaves. That's what it is. So ABC says, people stop distracting him, let him tell us the magic. I told you the magic, so that's the magic anyway. So Jack the Lad says 2,000 millionaires left the UK already. Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. And believe me, out of those 2,000, at least 100 of them are my mates, right? Or people I know, right? Or I've associated with at some stage. And if they haven't left already, they're still considering leaving, including a lot of, like I said, even myself, I'm planning to leave as well. Because you're going to make it hard. People were happy. They're making money, they're making wealth, and they're spending the wealth here. You know, when you make wealth, you're going to buy a house. Where are you going to buy a house? You're going to buy it here. So if it's easy, you buy a house here, right? But now, for example, right, you know, when you buy a house above a certain amount, you got to pay XYZ amount in taxes. Hold on, I just paid taxes in my crypto investments that I've made profit. I've just paid a shit ton of tax, right? Because I've declared it, I'm a good law-abiding citizen, and I've done that. And then all of a sudden now, when I buy a house, I got to pay stamp duty and all more taxes. What the hell is going on here? So I've got to pay all of this before I've even bought a house. So you don't even want me to buy a house, right? And it gets, you know, and even if, say for example, someone's cash, so you got cash buyers, right? I've got a lot of people I know who have cash buyers. In fact, not far from here, about 2-3 streets up there, someone bought with cash, right? You got cash. Where'd you get the money from? And then there's a whole bloody, like, so the guy's like, hold on, I'm legit. What's wrong with you? Here, you can see my bloody account statements. You got to prove all of this. Where did you get the money from? Do you want to sell me the house or not? What it is basically, they don't want you to pay with cash. They want to make it difficult. So you go into debt, because when you go to debt, when you borrow, when you get a mortgage, when you borrow anything, they can print that money from nowhere, because now that money's printed under your name. Do you understand? That's all it is. Even when you're paying, they make it difficult. So a lot of people are just fed up with all of that. So all of that real estate and all of that, right? People are just fed up. Like, guys, what the hell is going on? You know? So a lot of the people I know, they're going into like rental properties and this and that. They're just renting. Is renting, and they're like, you know what, we do this, and they rent their own properties, make it into Airbnbs or whatever, like, you know, like little. So recently someone did this, right? So they had a lovely 3-bedroom house, but it was massive 3-bedroom house, like 3-bedroom, double living rooms, and maybe another study room, whatnot, and this and that. They converted it all into 7 flats, right? Ensuite, everything ensuite, flats, and they're renting it out individually. They've actually rented it out to the local government, like the council. They actually rented out to them, and they're making a shit ton of money. And now they've moved abroad, right? So they have their money coming into their accounts. They are now they've applied to be a legal citizen in another country, and currently, because of the citizenship changeover, legally they don't have to pay taxes in the UK anymore, you know. So that's what they did, and but they were forced to. I don't think they wanted to. They're now in a complete foreign country where they've never been, but that's not even where their heritage is from, because they didn't want to go there, because they're like, oh, well, we don't want to go there, because when you go there, we don't have the same opportunities. So they went to another country, somewhere in Europe anyway. So they moved over to Europe, right? I'm not going to mention where, but there's some good lucrative opportunities around Europe. So yeah. Adil says, question for you, my brother. How to spend 1 million theoretically of crypto profit tax free? Go to Dubai, brother. Go to Dubai. Go to Dubai. By the way, guys, okay. Before YouTube or any government agencies, NSA, FBI, CIA, GHCQ, CID, MI5, MI6, whatever, come after me, wait for it. Let me just say this, right? But guys, this is not a financial advice. I'm not advising you anything, all right? I'm not teaching you anything here. This is not my job. I'm just going to tell you a fictional story. A fictional story. So we have that clear. This is fiction. This is not fact. This is fiction, right? You can go on a holiday to Dubai. So here's the story, right? You can go on a holiday to Dubai. And if you go to Dubai, you can actually open a bank account in Dubai. And if you open a bank account in Dubai, obviously you've got to have a reason why you're opening a bank account. So obviously if you're a frequent visitor, you can open a bank account. So if you open a bank account in Dubai, And if you register a business, which you can register a business, just like here we have company house, similar way there's a process there. So you register something, and it's very small. You like pay like 8% annual tax or whatever, and that's normally for the business. It's got nothing to do with anything, and it only when you go above a certain threshold. So believe me, 1 million is not that threshold. It's about 3 million or something. Then you pay that. When you have a bank account, well, now you're tax free. So there are people, there's a story, who cash out over there. It has been considered money laundering, but for legal reasons, it's not money laundering. Money laundering would be when you take, money that is not accounted for, and then wash it and then do whatever. But if you're cashing out crypto and then the crypto's dollars or whatever is being sent to your Dubai account, well, you've just cashed out into your Dubai account, so you should be fine. So there are, things that. So yeah. And then you get it and you spend it. Now you can put it back into your thing. But ultimately, remember, guys, as I said, there are people out there who are playing the long game. All right, people out there who are playing 2030, 2040 games. Like, believe me, they're playing that, right? Actually, while we're on the subject all of this, I'll give you a beautiful example. A beautiful example. Michael Saylor. I'll give you Michael Saylor, because Michael Saylor did something fascinating. A lot of people don't realize that part of what he did. So Michael Saylor sold his convertible bonds or whatever. He sold his stock and he went and got a loan, right? Because XYZ money, whatever. He went and got a loan and he bought crypto, right? Everyone knows that, right? When he got that crypto, he got a loan. So whatever interest or whatever monthly payments he's got to do, or he's got to pay at the end, depending on the term, right? Whatever payment he's got to do. Until he makes that payment, that's an expense. Until he makes that payment, it's an expense. So maybe what you want to do is have an expense. You might want to have an expense. And then after the expense is paid, right? After the expense is paid, if you still have some profit, then you would pay tax on the profit, because the expense has to be minus before you pay profits, right? So just leave it like that, if that helps, So it's hard. That's why I earlier on today as well, I mentioned to everyone, I said, guys, please understand that if I have a private conversation when I'm consulting, I can openly talk about certain things. On a live stream, when you've got the entire freaking world looking at it, when Google is owned by the CIA or whatever, right? NSA, right? No tax on debt. No tax. You don't pay tax on debt. Debt is expense. Debt first, by the way. We have a law, debt first. So if you have a loan, you pay your loan first. Debt first. Debt is expendable, right? So it's expense. So consider that, right? So debt is good. Okay, I'm going to drop one more and I'm going to leave it there. There's a friend of mine, he remortgaged his house. I'm not even joking. He remortgaged his house back in 2022. He remortgaged his house. He took almost £250,000 from his house and he put it into an exchange and he bought Bitcoin. He's still paying his mortgage because his house didn't have any mortgage. So he remortgaged. He's paying his mortgage. He's still paying his mortgage. Let's just leave it there. He's got quite a few years remaining on his mortgage, but he still has BTC from 2022. I'll just leave it there. And, let's put it this way. Every year he pays close to, because of his income and this and that, he's got good income. He pays close to like 60, 70,000 pounds in taxes anyway. Right? But he has a mortgage and he's still paying his mortgage. And he has BTC. So he's done a Michael Saylor basically. Adil says debt is an expense. That is a gem. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. Listen, as I said, I don't normally drop these kind of stuff, but I know a lot of the guys have been asking and being concerned a little bit. So I thought, I'll drop a few hints out there. So at least that way you guys, have a rough idea, because normally these are not conversations I would have, but I hope this is the last time, because I don't want to talk about this stuff. Because as I said, when I'm talking on the live, unless I'm talking with disclaimers and this and that, and even then, it depends what I say, it will come and bite me in the ass one way or another, honestly. And believe me, all of these guys, NSA, FBI, CIA, you name it, all the freaking alphabet soups, right? All of them are watching. You think they're not? Believe me, that they listen. YouTube wasn't bought by Google for no. Google had the power to create a whole brand new YouTube, but Google didn't do that. They bought YouTube. Why? Because they want your data. They want to monitor all of these streams. They have an AI since the 1960s monitoring all of us, what we say, what kind of keywords, right? They're looking for it, right? And then they come back and they bite you. I'm telling you, they all know. That's why you got to be very careful what you say, right? Especially on a live stream, even on a pre-recorded. Obviously, pre-recorded, most people just delete, or edit, right? But on a live stream, they're watching you. They know where I am. They know my location. They know exactly where I am. Even if my location is switched off, they still know where I am. Right? That's the conspiracy part of me. But anyway, we're not going to go down that route today. But yeah, that's what it is, guys. But remember, if you are going to pay your taxes, if you are going to go to your tax man and pay whatever, you also need to keep a complete record. And remember, one of the most important part a lot of people miss is your fees. So keep a complete record of how much you invested, how much you've made, but during the time when you made that, how much fees you paid, like gas fees and this and that. All of that is deductible. So remember that, and that will help you save how much tax you pay. So your tax could be lowered through that. And remember also to utilize your tax-free allowance, right? That's very important. So utilize that. And you know, £12,500 in the UK, you can actually have tax-free. So make sure to utilize that as well, and gift it to your spouse. So listen, these are legal ways of doing it, and these are not something that I'm just saying to you here. These are actually available on the HMRC website, and I think the recent one, they actually done a complete crypto guideline, right? The crypto tax laws. I think it was a month ago or something, or month and a half ago. They updated it and they actually got so there's a whole paper out there, so you guys could go and check out the paper, and I recommend that. Please, there's no harm. It's only going to take you 2 minutes, right? Go to HMRC website and search crypto, and then you'll see the crypto guidelines come up. And when they do, then at least you have you're in a better position to make a better decision, right? And what you'll notice a lot of the time, you probably don't even have to go to an accountant. You can actually do a complete self-declaration, right? Also, if you're doing self-declaration, remember our tax financial year is from 6th of April to 5th of April the following year, right? So basically, like the recent one is 2024 is April the 6th, 2024 to April the 5th, 2025, right? So that's the tax year. However, as an individual, if you haven't done it during that time, you also get an extension, right? Until, I believe, if I'm correct, the 31st of January, the following. So if you haven't done your 2024 tax already, or 2023 to 2024 tax, then you have a deadline until the 31st of January to make that thing, because you know sometimes there's a bit of an issue. So make those, like, if you have to. But as I said, there are plenty of ways that you don't have to, and these are all legal. So a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to hide it, I'm going to go dark web, I'm going to do this, I'm going to put it in a wallet and this and that. Yeah, those are also options, right? But you can keep it right there, right in front of everybody, and the government's not going to do anything, because the government made it very black and white. And by the way, when you go and read that paper, I also advise everybody, print that paper. Because if they change it later on, you can prove to the courts or whatever, if you have a battle, you can prove to them that that's what they said. That's what they said, right? So you can prove that this is exactly what they claim. So I'm not breaking any rules. So remember that, because sometimes they will come and they'll change a little thing, and then you're left in the dark, right? You don't know, and then you can get shafted. So don't print it. What's it going to cost? Like 4 or 5, well, actually a little bit more, A4 papers and some ink. Print it, guys. What's wrong with it? Print it and keep it, file it, keep it, because that's your guideline. That's what they guided you in 2024. That's the guideline. So you know the guideline, right? Unless they update it, that you already know that. So you're like, this is what was relevant for that tax year, because each guideline is relevant for that tax year, right? Because they cannot just randomly make one just before the taxes due. Everything is relevant for that year. So if it's relevant, if they have updated it and it's relevant for this year, you can use that. So keep those, highlight them, and you know your rules and regulations, and then you move forward from there. So yeah, I hope that kind of helps somebody somewhere. KI and all my other brothers, I hope it helps you. So Yes, my brothers. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Sham. Uh, I currently come every day and talk about crypto, and I try to keep it completely crypto. But sadly, sometimes we get diverted a little bit. But today, I did want to talk a little bit about taxes. Hence, why earlier on I mentioned on Discord what the problems are, what the implications are. But I had to kind of look at a few bits and bobs like what can I really say and what can I say, what can't I say. So I've said what I think I could say. I hope I don't get penalized for that. I'm not concerned about YouTube, by the way. You know, a lot of guys might think that I'm concerned about YouTube blocking my videos, all of that. I'm not concerned. My videos, yes, my channel is monetized, but I don't have a sponsor. I don't have nothing. No, there's no advertisers I've got to worry about, you know, and be careful about what I say. I'm not making hundreds of pounds or whatever, or thousands of pounds. My videos, best case, maybe all of them combined, maybe make about £2 a month or something like this. Do I really care? No, I don't. The only thing I care about is obviously I don't want my channel banned, right? Cancelled, right? But other than that, I don't really care. So there's none of that thing behind my, you know, in my head, like, oh, I'm gonna get demonetized or that doesn't bother me. I'm not fussed about monetization or anything like this, and I don't think that would happen. But I'm just careful about the channel being blocked because that's the worst thing. Because that's what you know, a lot of like, you know, current situations, like political situations, right? If you talk about it, I don't know if you know this, right? So like if you're protesting or activism and this and that, they actually cancel you completely. They block you off, right? That's what's been happening. There was someone who was recently for protesting as well. They got sent to prison. So you know, for activism, they got sent to prison. So they're doing that. So they just don't, they want to shut everybody out. You know what I mean? So if you pick up on something, if you say something, they will knock you down completely, and they will do everything to destroy you. So you got to be really careful, you know. And I'm being as careful as I can in what I say. Well, obviously, when I'm talking about crypto and doing analysis, or giving my own opinions, or talking about conspiracy theories, that's a whole different thing. It's fun. It's entertainment. That's a different story. You know, it can be classed as entertainment or education, one or the other, right? So it depends on how you guys take it. I appreciate you, my brother, Jack the Lad. I appreciate you, and everybody else that comes here. I do appreciate you guys, honestly, because when you come here, it's engaging. That's one. You might ask me something that, you know, is relevant, and maybe somebody finds that valuable. Do you know what I mean? That's why yesterday, when was it yesterday, or the day before, when SM asked me, I kind of diverted away from that tax. Um, the question I diverted off, but then I clarified myself. I said, look, this is a reason why I'm kind of diverting away from it. I don't really want to talk about it. So I did a little bit of research. I said, okay, this I can, because this is on the Inland Revenue website, right? So on the tax guidance, it's there. So I'm not telling you anything that's not there. I might say it in my own words, right? But it's exactly what it's there. Remember, I don't plagiarize other people, so I'm not going to read out what they say and say, "Oh, this is what I." This is, I'm just reiterating, summarizing what they said. It's actually a lot longer, but if you go there, you'll see it. It's very basic, very simple, and they've made it quite clear. What I've said here, all the taxable events and non-taxable events, basic, plain and simple, very clear, and hope that helps people. Right, and then you can make a right decision. And who do you go to? Do you go to your accountant and say, well, this is what it is, or do you go to a tax professional or tax advisor or something like this and then pay them? So yeah, that's what it is. Faisal says, a great stream, my brother. My brother, thank you very much for making it great. You know what I mean? Because you guys coming here makes it great. That's what I'm going to say. And all the other guys that have come in and stuck to the subject, I respect you. Thank you very much for that. Do appreciate that. Let's talk about the market. Market currently sitting at $3.37 trillion. So we're about 20 billion. Is it 20? Yeah, about 20 billion. Backup volumes come back up again, which is really, really cool. Bitcoin's currently back at 95,700, which I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'd rather see it bleed around the 93, 92. Stay there, stay there. Don't move. Don't move. That gives more chances to other coins. Ethereum's come back $20, 20 freaking dollars. What's that? Someone's throwing loose change at Ethereum. So yeah, Ethereum's the most disappointing coin this particular season. Crow's holding strong, currently back at 19 cents. Say's holding strong, currently back at 65 cents, very strong. Sol's holding by $1, not too much. XRP's holding at $2.57, right? So yes, it's showing signs that, okay, whatever happened is happened, right? We bled out, that's fine, but we're holding strong. And when we hold strong, we have a great opportunity. When the market settles, we can start making a move. And also, of course, I've given timelines already, right? Remember last stream, the stream before, I've given certain timelines as a probability of something happening with some level of certainty, right? Now, one thing a lot of people can come back and say to me, well, you said we're going to go to $3 XRP within 48 hours, if not 72 hours. That 72 hours completes tomorrow. Did we go to $3? Not yet, but did we go close to that? $2.90. I think I won. That's what I'm going to say, right? I'm not taking the win, but I think I won. I'm close enough, because that was a number I said with very certainty. I said we're going to go to within 48 hours, if not 72 hours. We're going to go towards that $3, if not that $3.30. And we went to $2.90, so I'll take that. Do you know what I mean? I'll take that. But so far, as I said, look, guys, forget all of that. Jokes aside, right? The market's looking fantastic. Bubble, if you're still here, my brother, Eagle looking super strong. So while the market was bleeding, Eagle was pushing the opposite direction. I've got a feeling within the next few days, if not within the next few weeks, provided the market stays as it is, you know, that cycle I was talking about where coins are cycling through, right? One coin does 50%, 100%, and then it moves on to another coin, right? I think E-Gold is going to get its time very soon, right? Because it's going to go through that cycle. And I think when it does, I've got a feeling it's going to push for it. So whether we go to the 400, the 500, the $545 all-time high, that's a different story. I don't know that yet. Because it's quite some way. That means we have to do a 10x from here. To get to that level, we have to do a 10x from here. Not sure if that's going to happen quite yet, but I think the first push, the first big major push we can get on Eagle should push us towards at least $100, if not $200, right? That's probability. You know, anything between, I would say, like 2x to 4x, maybe even a 5x. That's a good number. So we could see a nice 5x pump. If we get that, then we're closer to the previous all-time high. Then it's not that far. Then we can start looking at that number. But so far, it's holding very strong and pushing forward as well. That's a good thing as well. So currently sitting at $51, right? Very strong. It was at 49 in the morning, and then it's been pushing all day. It's been pushing few cents here and there, but it's been pushing up. That's the most important thing. So that's really good. BDC dominance, as I said, 56 here. Some charts say 55. Either way, it's not good. It's not great, right? If we really want to be in an altcoin, we want BTC price to stay where it is, but the dominance to drop, so we know that other alts are now performing. And it doesn't matter what it is. We've got millions of coins there. Any coin needs to just take that market share, and that's like a trigger for the entire altcoin market to start pushing. So we'll see what happens there. Songbird, I've talked about it before. The first time we talked about it was like 0.01, currently at 0.13. It has gone as high as 0.16 or 7, right? It's come back to 1.3. It's an opportunity. Whether you buy or not, it's a different story. Entirely up to you. Also, guys, sometimes when we're talking about market moving up or moving down, you might be in a good position to make a decision, right? So again, when I'm talking about the future, I'm saying this could probably happen. You have to go back and make a decision. Maybe it's an opportunity for you to short the market. Maybe it's an opportunity for you to long the market. Of course, this is none of my business. I'm not going to tell you. I don't make financial advices for anybody, right? This is not financial advice. So you do you, I do me. So, but yeah, there are plenty of opportunities in the market. So many coins performing really, really well and doing so many different things. So other than that, you guys, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm going to have a little sip of my drink. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll happily answer them as long as I can answer them. If I can't, then I won't. You know what I mean? So we can talk about anything, except please stay to the subject, right? Let's not go into religion, culture, or even real estate. I'm not a real estate channel. I'm not a real estate expert, by the way. You know, yes, I've done building work back in the days. I've been into property, right? You know, I'm still kind of connected, right? I don't want to say too much, but other than that, I'm no expert. I'm no genius property expert. I'm not, right? Crypto, not even, I wouldn't even consider myself an expert. But when it comes to chart, I can tell you charts better than most people can. And I don't consider myself an expert. I just understand charts. That's my talent. I freaking understand charts, right? So yeah, I'm just gonna say that. Adil says, no conspiracy theories today. Well, I can drop one. we can talk about conspiracy. I mean, I did add a conspiracy today earlier on about Trump, right? So that was a conspiracy. It's like Gary Gensler has left SEC before Trump moved into office in January. So Trump's about to move into office in January, and Trump was supposed to kick him out. So before Trump kicked him out, he's already left. That means Biden has some involvement with that, right? And then Gary Gensler being in office, that was a conspiracy, because we know Gary Gensler was talking so much positive things during his times at I forgot which university he was teaching at. He was teaching an actual class to people and telling them how positive, how great crypto is. So he's very knowledgeable. But then when he went to the SEC as a chair, he all of a sudden done a complete 180 and he's complete negative, right? He's against crypto. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And he made life hell for everybody. And then Trump says, I'm going to kick him out, obviously. And all of a sudden now he's already kicked out. Trump's not even in office. What's going on? That's a conspiracy, right? That's what I feel anyway. There's something going on here. Well, we don't know. And I think whatever the case is, it could be good, it could be bad, but ultimately we need to be prepared, right? So that's my conspiracy and that's my solution to that conspiracy. Guys, be prepared. Put your stop losses. Do whatever you need to do. Protect your funds, because we could be completely fucked up, right? Also, the other part, it's not a conspiracy, but the Biden administration did order the seized funds. I think it was Alphabet or the other one, Silk Road. So you know the funds, the BTC that they seized from Silk Road. Well, 10% of that BTC is worth about $2 billion right now, and they've just recently, and that's proven, they've transferred it to Binance. Sorry, not Binance, Coinbase. They've transferred it to Coinbase. So they're going to use Coinbase to dump it. Now, there's a bad news and a good news, right? If they dump it on chain, that's bad for everybody, because that could affect the market. That could dump the price quite hard. However, if they do an OTC, it doesn't bother us. And that OTC means if there's another private buyer, then yeah, they're just going to buy it. We're not even going to know about it. Because you know what? Most of these organizations, massive organizations out there, that's the reason why, look, BTC should be at 500K today. If they bought it on exchange, right? If they bought it on chain, it would be 500K today, not 100K or not 90 whatever K. We're not going to be talking about 90K numbers. Market should be at $10 trillion. But because a lot of these big boys, even including, what's his name, Michael Saylor and this, that, even, by the way, Windows, Bill Gates, hypocrite. He was always telling, oh, I don't do Bitcoin. They've been recently investing. So Microsoft has been investing in BTC, right? But again, they don't buy it on chain. They buy it OTC, over the counter, off chain, wallet to wallet transfer. Wallet to wallet transfer does not count as a sale. That doesn't impact the price. That's what they do. So Adil says, your thoughts on crypto, which are preordained by banks and mentioned in white papers, example XRP. Yesterday I talked about this. I said how some of these coins have massive institutional backing, and they actually have programs to go to banking. I actually specifically said that they go to banks and other institutions, and they promote directly to them because they have that internal connection, right? Hence why we see massive institutional backing, or investors, so big wallets investing into these projects, because that's where they go. They just go direct to the institution. They have the capacity to do that. 99.99% of crypto founders don't do that. They don't go house to house, right? Let's say like cold calling or house calling. They don't have that connection to go and promote their assets. But these companies have that insight. So XRP, I'm sure if you know, then I've mentioned this many times before as well. So XRP provides, Ripple, the main company, provides a service for the banking infrastructure. So they kind of do banking remittance between banks. So it's like if you got a bank in one state, then sometimes sending money to another state could be a bit of a drama because they have thousands of banks over there. So to bypass that, you use XRP basically, which is a similar technology that they use in MoneyGram. In fact, MoneyGram is owned by Ripple as well. So I don't know if you know this. It's not XRP. So the company has created Ripple, which is the main company that does all the banking infrastructure and all the banking transfers. And then they also created XRP. And XRP is the publicly traded thing, whereas in like the crypto, and then they have the private version, which is Ripple. So that's what it is. And but when they're going there, they're talking about XRP Ripple. Technically, they're talking about the same thing. And yeah, I mean, people see the potential and people buy that. So white papers You're the second person today mentioned white papers, right? And I actually earlier on, it was KR if you're still here. He mentioned, well, how come nobody mentioned any white papers this season? It's quite funny, nobody mentioned white papers. So I posted a picture of a toilet roll, white paper, right? But yeah, listen, white papers, great. If you're looking for that kind of project, I normally say just follow the money. Forget the white paper. Who cares about who these people are? I mean, did we even know? Do we even know who these people are apart from what they say they are, right? Or whatever background they have on what's it called, LinkedIn, right? Do we even know who they are? If someone comes up to me and says, "I'm the CEO of Google," and then shows me a LinkedIn and this and that, maybe he's the CEO of Google, but maybe he's the CEO of the library. I don't know. Just because he says CEO, it doesn't make anything. So I don't really look for that, because that's the psychology that kind of ruins us in the long term, right? Because what we do as we're kind of brainwashed by this corporation style of thinking, right? We're not looking at the project. We end up looking at the white paper, and we start trusting the paper, right? We start trusting the paper, and that paper becomes the law and everything for us. If we avoid that and just go bypass and just look at the price action. How many people are buying this? Okay. How many people have invested in this? Okay. How many people are holding this? Okay, fine. And how many people have got a pre-allocation, right? Are they going to dump vesting schedule, whatever? If we look at all of these things, then all of a sudden it's a lot more clear. We don't care who the founders are, right? We don't care about the white paper. We don't care what kind of imaginary invention they're going to do later on, how they're going to change the planet, right? How they're going to bring billions of people and bank the unbanked or whatever nonsense they're going to talk about. Because believe me, they always come up with something fresh, right? Some crazy idea. None of that matters, right? We just look at price action. We're in it for the money. We want to make the money. So we end up, right, just focusing on that. And then you find a lot of projects. So I always say people power, very important. Look at a project, how many people are interested, how many people are going for the pre-sale and this and that. If you see hundreds of thousands of people going for a pre-sale, get in there. Get in line, brother. Get in, right? You want to be part of that as well, right? But when it goes to an exchange, the first time it goes to an exchange, be ready to sell. You dump that on that day. When it goes into an exchange, you dump, because everyone's going to be dumping on that same day, right? Because what happens is the pre-sale buyers, they end up dumping to the new buyers, right? The open market buyers, right? So you get a massive dump, right? Dump. And then if you see a strong community still there, guess what? You buy the dip. That's a strategy. So yeah. So yeah, I mean, look, paper, nah, doesn't matter, right? Papers doesn't matter. Look at the founders, look at the company, look at how many they're holding. I think that's what matters. That's very important. That's what matters, to be honest. So that's how I'm going to put it. White paper doesn't make anything, because money, follow the money, follow the money. The most successful projects out there all had money, and all have been backed by massive VC, venture capital, and this and that, right? As long as we got that, the project's fine. Doesn't matter. And believe me, that's if you go and look at all the major top coins, run because they have the money. Money also comes into budget as well, like for marketing, because you'll see a lot of these projects do massive marketing, and that brings in more money. So they don't invest money for no good reason. VCs don't come in for no good reason. VCs want to 10x their money, right? So VCs come in, they know it's a good investment. They come in to make more money. Banks and institutions indirectly and directly will come in also invest, right? And I've mentioned this on, I think yesterday, the day before yesterday, I said like BlackRock, everyone knows about BlackRock, everyone knows about Vanguard. These are like the two giants, like kind of competing but not. However, what they don't know is they actually own shares in each other's company, right? So they kind of threaten each other by owning shares in each other's company. But overall, what happens is it doesn't matter whether they own shares in each other's company. They also own many companies below them. So they own shares in other companies. And they also always make sure they invest just enough so they can have a chair as a board member, right? Or a chair, whatever. So they have some level of control, or some sort of, at least, if not control, but they are able to manipulate in one or another, at least have their say. So, and you'll find those companies go down the chain, and at some stage you'll find a company like ARK Invest and XYZ who invest in cryptos. And it's like, hold on. So we can see the chain, right, where the money comes from, just like Bitcoin, the blockchain, right? Or any cryptocurrency, the blockchain. So you get to see this entire long chain. It goes back to one or two investors. So you get to see that how a lot of these companies have been indirectly buying indirectly investing in crypto through various other companies, obviously. So technically they didn't invest, but the companies that they have invested have invested. Does that make sense? So they're all connected, but that also brings big money as well. So big marketing, big money, great white paper. Yeah, but white paper usually is good enough for toilet paper. That's what I'm going to say. So yeah, that's all white papers are good for. There was a time, by the way, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. Believe it or not, there was a time when I used to look at white papers and I used to look at fundamentals. But past few years, I stopped looking at fundamentals. I was like, you know, I don't care. It doesn't even matter anymore. I'll give you a good example. HNT, Helium Network, right? Helium, HNT. I used to be a massive fan of Helium Network because the guy who created it, a lot of you guys may not know this, he was also involved in Napster. Many of you don't even know Napster. Anyway, so these guys are not these are not newbies, right? So I'm following the guy. Forget the technology. I don't give a damn about the technology. So he's created this, and he said, look, we're going to create internet, right? And you provide a service. Your people would provide the device and service, and we can have hotspots and whatever, and you mine through that, and you earn HNT tokens through that, right? Great technology. A lot of people did that, and actually you can genuinely earn cryptocurrency through that. I like that. But then I realized, I said, hold on, where's the network? What's the network? It's not HNT. You're basically sharing your Wi-Fi to someone else. Okay, fine, and you're earning. Isn't that the same thing as you putting a mining device and just mining the freaking coin yourself? You might as well go and mine some Dogecoin or something, right? It's the same thing. Why are you looking for people? And people have to directly connect to you for HNT. It becomes a bit of a problematic thing. Yes, you create a hotspot and you get rewarded by them, but you're sharing data. Isn't that against decentralization? Because what you're doing is people are connected through there. They get to see whatever people are doing. Isn't that a bit scammy? I'm not saying anything bad about them. So that's how I felt about them, right? So, wow, your technology was wow to me at that paper, on the white paper. But then when I see the reality, it's not that wow. It's like, actually, I'm against that. Right? So I still, by the way, I still hold coin. So I believe in the coin, right? So that's what I'm saying. Fundamentals gone down the bin, white paper gone down the bin. They don't matter, right? But the coin is fine. So price action is good. Yeah, fine. It makes you money. Why not? So I think that's where we're going now as well. A lot of these projects, we just have to stop looking at the people, and because I did that. As I said, I would be a hypocrite if I didn't admit that. I did that in the past. And believe me, there was a time, and I talked about it before as well on other other live streams as well. I went down the Bitcoin rabbit hole, right? To the point Satoshi's like this genius, this unknown shadow figure, this genius to me, right? I went down that thing, and I don't care who Satoshi is, right? I want Satoshi to stay as in the shadows and that, right? I went down that route. And then, as I said recently, last couple of years ago, when I stopped giving up on that, I don't really care. I don't really care who created BTC. I don't care if the CIA created it. I don't care if the NSA created it. I don't care if DARPA created it. Right? You never know, right? It doesn't matter anymore. It's like, who cares? How many people are holding it? Well, plenty of people. Is it decentralized? Well, it's more than decentralized, right? Because of how many people hold it. So it's like a network effect, right? So because so many people hold it in their wallets, right, and so many people are mining it from all over the world, right, it's decentralized. That's fine. That's good enough. I don't need to worry about who created it, right? Because even if the government did create it, well, they lost control. Do you know what I mean? So for me, like, it doesn't matter anymore. Here's your conspiracy theory, right? So this is my kind of conspiracy theory. So it doesn't matter who created cryptocurrency, who created this revolution. I believe they lost control, right? And now it's in the hands of people, and people power is the most important thing, right? So if that kind of makes sense to you, I hope it does, right? But that's how I go about it anyway. So I look at coins, I look at projects, I'm like, people power. And you got to make money. You're in it for the money. Make money. If it doesn't make you money, dump it. Move on, right? There are going to be hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions, right? We're in the millions now, of coins out there. Pick whatever, right? Pick 10, if one doesn't make you money, dump it. Don't be a bag holder. Just dump it. Move on. There's another one. There's so many opportunities, right? If one coin doesn't perform, another's doing it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Leave it. We're not going to be loyal. Right? I say this quite often. I say, look, with crypto, the way you got to treat it is like a one night stand, right? Or even if you don't have a one night stand, if you're fine, don't fall in love. Don't fall in love. And whatever you do not marry it. Do not marry it. Do not become that guy. I'm a hodler. No, don't be a freaking hodler, because that's stupid. Don't be. When the time is right, when you made enough money, take your profit. Because if you're not, someone else is gonna, and then you're gonna become a hodler again. And then all of a sudden, next year comes along, you're gonna say you're a hodler, but you actually don't mean that. You mean you became a hodler. Don't become a hodler. You want to be a hodler, that's a different story. You have a strategy for, I'm going to hold it for 5 years. That's fine. And I've got friends who are doing this. They're buying even now for the next 5 years. That's fine, right? That means you're going to hodl for 5 years. That's your strategy, which is fine. But if everybody else is cashed out and you've been holding it from the bottom, everyone else is cashed out, and then you couldn't cash out, you became a bag holder, you're not a hodler, right? Don't become a bag holder. That's all I'm saying. So, guys, let me know if there's any other questions. Also, guys, if you're new here, my name is Sham. This is 0x5. We are live. Truth is always out there. So please do consider smashing the like button. Hit the subscribe if you want to. We're on the path to get to about 10,000 subscribers very soon. Here you get real raw. No BS, right? No boundaries. Effing and blinding and swearing. Sometimes conversations, basically. So, you know, hope you enjoy. I'm waiting to see if there's any conversations. I can't. Oh yeah, there is. Oh, chat's stupid. So tiny as well. So what's the story? What's happening? Marcus holding again. I think. Look, you know what? What's the time now? Time now is 6:18. Yeah. Look. Do you know what? We got less than 6 hours, right? I would say just wait until midnight. Wait until midnight. I think we're going to make a decision around midnight whether BTC wants to go towards the 92k ish. If not, well, basically, let's just say if BTC wants to go south or wants to go north, right? I think we're going to find out within the next 6 hours and then see what happens. Whatever happens, that should give us a good result for the altcoins, because the altcoins also now have to make a decision. Do we continue to pump, or do we go down with BTC? They have to make a decision. And if BTC dumps and altcoins don't dump, then we're in for a ride, guys. We're in for a ride. It's going to be a freaking awesome ride, right? Because I'm excited, because I've got a gut feeling, because we're already in the altcoin season, right? And everyone's going to confirm that. If some of these coins start moving, we're going to see some crazy parabolas. We're going to, you know, we've been seeing so far, some coins have been doing 50% a day. I think we're going to hit those numbers like 100% a day, right? Imagine doing 1x every day. That's just freaking crazy, right? I think we're going to get there at some stage. Because I'm listen, I've said this. I see the market easy going to 4 trillion, if not more, 4 or 5 trillion, easy. And those are just the basic number. And that's not even me talking about BTC. I'm just keeping BTC aside. I'm not even talking about BTC. I talked about it yesterday. I said, look, if XRP goes to, you know, $3, right? Or $3.30, the previous all-time high. That's almost $330 billion. That's very close to Ethereum. If it goes to like $4 or $5, it kind of overtakes Ethereum, right? If Ethereum doesn't do anything, it overtakes Ethereum. It becomes the number 2 coin on the planet. And I'm hoping we get to around $10. If we get to $10 XRP, that's $1 trillion market cap. That's half of BTC right now at current price, half of BTC. Do you know what I mean? So because of the number of coins they got, because remember they got 99 million or billion, 99 billion coins, almost 100 billion basically. I don't know what happened to the others, because the numbers just like messed up. It's not a straight number, right? It's like 99 and then point something. I don't know. You know, somewhere along the line they lost a few, right? Whatever, Garlinghouse or whatever his name is. They ended up losing a few coins in the process. I think they were testing it or whatever, and they ended up losing a few coins. But yeah, the total number of coins available, or total diluted market cap, if you look at it, it's a weird number. It's 999 something, and then weird. Like, okay, well, what happened? Well, how come you never got a straight number? So, so guys, if you have any other questions, let me know. Any other stuff. Um, let's see. If not, then I'm not going to stick around for too long. What's that? Oh, bloody hell, 1 hour 45 minutes. I wasn't going to do this for that long, but you're lucky because normally, if I had to, because I am going somewhere, but I don't have a fixed time or anything. That's why I said I'll do a live stream. When I told everyone on Discord, I said I'll do a live stream now or later. It doesn't matter. So you're lucky I'm able to be here, but normally I would do it more longer than an hour. I always try to, believe it or not, I swear to God, right? You know, Allah knows best, right? Believe me, I have no intention to do anything more than an hour. Even an hour, I think, is too much. I think 30 minutes to 40 minutes is good. Because I know, look, most people don't have an attention for more than 5 minutes. Right, most people who come and view this video will probably come and view this video for like 2 minutes and then go, because they don't have an attention. They're just not programmed that way, right? You're not programmed that. We know that, right? You probably stick around for 5-10 minutes and then boom, you're gone, right? Or, you know, you probably think, oh, this is not relevant, right? Oh, this guy, I don't like his face, right? Oh, I don't like what the glasses he's wearing or the stuff he's talking about. That's a fact. That's a fact, right? So I don't want to genuinely make it that long because I know people don't have that attention span. So, but those of you guys, there are some guys, and I know that, you know, of course, there's a very few loyal guys here. I know you guys watch it right to the end, and I appreciate that and I respect that. Hats off to you all, right? Honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart, because you guys definitely make the channel what it is, right? I wouldn't be here, honestly. If you guys didn't come, I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? Come here for what? What do I get out of it? Nothing. You know what I mean? Absolutely nothing. What do I get out of it? Maybe sometimes I get a few trolls that I can have a go at, but other than that, what do I get out of it? Nothing. So, I'm not seeing any questions. If that's the case, then I'm just going to finish the stream. I appreciate all of you guys coming. Thank you very much. My name is Sham. This is your X-Files. All right. The truth is always out there. And I hope I didn't offend anybody. And I hope people found value in the entire stream from some of the stuff that we talked about. As I said, there are certain things I cannot say, right, for legal implications and possible legal implications. So I have to be very careful. But yeah, I mean, a private conversation or a casual conversation, that's a whole different story. But this is not the platform for that, right? That would actually be a platform where we would go to, what do you call this? Where we would go to Discord or something like this. That's where that would be. So I hope you all understand this. So other than that, guys, like, share, subscribe, and I'm going to catch you guys on another one very soon. Adios, my amigos.